בבייסיק לא חושב שבשנה הספירה של רגולציה לא בטוח מה עוד נדבר, אני חושב שמה שהוא עושה זה קובע מספר תפעית, זה שלו, ספר כמה פעמים, יש מספר תפעית.
כן, זה ספר תפעית.
יש תוצאה די הדוקה בנושאים אינטרנט קודים. בכלל. לא סגור גם,
Okay, so we'll continue. Now, just let me remind that we have seen that you have the any pointer. The n is repeated n times. Just if we would take without n minus 1 and repeat replace a by some word and b by second permutation, then we have that no cancellation. So just from now we assume without laws of generality there is no cancellation. No cancellation between this is without just make n smaller by 1%. Now the other thing. When we have this word, actually it is also form. Say some A, B to some power, A inverse, B to some power, etc. The signs of A just go A inverse A, etc. And this is another regularity that we've described, but not as matter. So what we can take, we can also, instead of A, we can take this word, A, B to some power greater 1, and A. This way, maybe one have to take the other signs at all. Just a minute. I think these are doesn't matter. The German just takes this one. And this will be something. So and then we can replace A by this word, and then we go again 1 down by the number of n. Just and it means that now this is a new A. So it is that we can assume actually that the length of A, of the new A, is much bigger than the length of, if you can repeat it 2, twice, or 3 times, so, and then just going 3 numbers down. So this is convenient to assume that also without all generalities, that it is the 2 times or 3 times, just a matter of convenience. So whenever we need, we make this assumption. So this is much longer than this, because just replacing, then we can, instead of 2, we can 4 items of A with the same D, etc. Just in some places it would be convenient to assume it, and we did not spare the number of bits. We're not trying to say the minimum value. let me return to the place where we were the previous time. We considered the common part with some pain. I mean the cyclic mode corresponding to this. And times n we have CD was n commutator with sometimes. So what could possibly be the common part of them? Okay. First we could assume that again with the same idea that the C is more than 2 times of A with B up to that matter. Just a matter of convenience, we can also do the same argument for enlarging C the same way, doubling it in some D in the middle. In case this is not, it is not a hard, it is not a hard assumption in a way. And then we have seen that we can assume that C and D are words in A and B. C and D are words in A and B. Then actually we can consider instead of this also without log of inequality that C and D are words in X and Y. We can just take the original letters on this one, on this side. Okay. Now, this case I have not described in full because analogically what I have done further was under the assumption that D is just one letter Y or Y inverse, but we have now to do it in general case. And it is also not difficult. Actually, the same set of ideas will give us similar results. So, first we have the following remark. D contains an odd number of y's. It couldn't tell an even number of y's. Why? It surely does. If it does an even number of y's, so the word D, we have now it will be the y to the power of delta 1, y to the power of delta 2, y to the power of delta 3, y to the power of delta 4. Now, what happens? And then we have the powers of x between them just change. So, whether we start with x or with y, say x, x minus y, x, x minus y, x, etc. If the number of y's is odd, is even, then the x will have the same sign or the same, if it starts with x, ends with x, the same sign in the beginning and the end.
Depends where this ends.
So I mean, if this is our B, then because the signs of x change, or both will be x or both x inverse. If they are inside this. Now let me recall how we obtained this. We had the word C that say goes this way, and the word C here goes in the opposite direction. Now, and then what we knew is that first place that these are not the inverse one of the other, because the word C, we can assume it has the same symmetry. It is built from previous something in the middle and then some previous C, because we can assume the structure by recursion. Then we have the same things here. It means that how we have this, so this exactly is equal to this inverse. So here is the first instance that they are not inverse of one another.
Sorry, why D contains odd number wise?
No. I'm claiming that it should contain an odd number. So assume by contrary that it has an even number.
Mm-hmm.
So explain why it could not be.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so if it's here, if it starts and ends, okay, the first thing, because this letter here is basically this letter inverse, so all both of them are x's and then both of them should be y's, or both of them are y's and then both of them should be x's. Because each of our words just have x to some power, then y to some power, x to some power, y to some power, alternating. So this should be the same letter. Therefore here should be the same letter. Or as I showed here, both of them are x's. Or both of them should be y's. And then it will be, for example, y to the power of delta 1, some x, y to the power of delta 2, some x minus, y to the power of delta 3, x plus, and then y to the power of delta 4. Then the external letters then should be y. Or both external letters are x's, or both external letters should be y's, because here this letter should, then this letter will be x to some power, and this will be x to some power here. Because now, but this will be, but then we have here, it should be x minus negative. Here we have, this is impossible already. So this is already impossible because the powers of A are alternating. So then we have here, this should be x minus 1 and that x minus 1 because the numbers of y's is even. So, and then, because this letter should be the inverse of the impossible. So this situation is already ruled out. Now we still have the situation, if it is even. Now then, okay. Then we can consider what happens on the other entity.
What is known about A and B big words?
A and B, now we now assume it that A and B are now just letters. We
Just
reduce this to a situation when A is X and B is Y. The general case is reduced to this.
If you look at the second letter, that's impossible. The second letter in C. Because it will be X with the same sign.
Yes. Of course, here is minus 1, and here is it's possible. Thank you. So this is also ruled out. So it means that we have ruled out the situation that is, so we have this as a number of what should be odd. Otherwise, we run to a contradiction with the symmetry of the situation. So now we concentrate on the situation where it is odd. Okay? Is clear? Should we repeat the argument?
No, you should repeat what's again. Why it's odd number, why it's.
Assume it is even.
Yes.
Then we have either this situation or this situation. Now, this were ruled out because of the symmetry rings. Because the next letter should be x inverse, because the powers of x alternating. This also, but these are actually the word is inverse. So we cannot have the same power of x. And this is the same as here. The next to this also the same power, also impossible. So this is ruled out. So now we have to discuss only situation when this number is odd. If it is odd, it is a central y. Sum d to the power delta 1, c d to the power delta 2, c inverse, etc. We assume that we have 8 instances of c. So what happens? So let me take the central letter, because the number of y is odd, so we have the central y, initial symbol. It may be y by definition. Now we consider, as we done before, the So, what is our assumption? Our assumption is that it is simultaneously a power or a piece of this. Actually, here we can consider x, y times the cyclic port corresponding to the angle relator on the generators. Now, then we know that for the appearances of y, here it is, so we have the regularity of the following type. Where we just have enumeration of this, for example, y number 0, 1 number 0, y number 1, etc., etc. Now then it goes the following way. When it is, if this, if we have y, its number is 2 to the power alpha times an odd number, then we know that if we, this is the number of y. If we move from this 2 to the power alpha plus 1, it will change the sign. 2 to the power alpha plus 1, it will change the sign. So this is actually the regularity in the powers of when we have plus and when we have minus. We look at this number, we look what is the maximal power of 2 dividing it. Then if we take double of it, then it will be just positive, negative, etc. This is the regularity in the powers of y. Unlike the x, it changes all the time. So then it means that, for example,
What is this number? The length of what? No, do alpha times 1.
this is the number of the position of y.
Where?
We just look here at this angle relator,
Yes.
and the starting point, and then we have every consecutive y plus minus y has its number 1, number 0, number 1, etc., etc.
Yeah. So what?
Now, if we know, and the general number will be 2 to the power n.
Yes.
Now, if we have this y as a number in this, the sum power of 2 times an odd number,
Yes.
then if we move from this by 2 to the power alpha plus 1, it will change the sign. 2 to the power alpha, etc. For example, if from the beginning it was odd, this is in all positions.
Beginning from what, from Y0?
It was for some original, yes, for some original y-axis numeration.
Okay.
So, for example, if he has an odd number, then it will be some, for example, y, then sum y to the unknown power, y negative 1, y to the power greater 2, y, etc. So every second will be switch the signs. If it would be divided by 2 but not by 4, then we take every 4, we switch the signs, etc. This is our regularity. So we now use the knowledge of this regularity to consider the situation. So first let us look what is actually the distance in this sense. How many y's we have here. So assume that this number is also some number, also some power of 8 times. This is the difference between the consecutive numbers, consecutive positions of the middle letter. This is the difference of the consecutive positions. Of the middle rise. But now, when we look at these positions, so one of them might actually be divisible by a big power of 2, bigger than alpha, for example. But then the other will not be divisible by a big power of 2 because this is the difference. So if one of them is divisible by something of a power of its position by a bigger power of 2 than alpha, the next one will be divisible by precisely alpha. Now, maybe even smaller, we don't know, because it must happen, it may be 2 to the power lambda, where lambda divisible by this, the lambda is less than equal to alpha. I mean, at least one of them will be such a situation.
So again, what happened?
What happens? We are looking about the signs, we're looking about the signs of y.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is our control of the signs of y?
Mm-hmm.
If we know that, for example, this particular y, its position is divisible by 2 to the power lambda, but not divisible by 2 to the power lambda plus 1,
Mm-hmm.
then if we move from this 2 to the power lambda plus 1, here 2 to the power lambda plus 1, etc., so it will inverse the sign. If we have y to the power epsilon here, we'll have here y to the power negative epsilon, both of them y to the power negative epsilon, again y to the power positive epsilon, y to the power positive epsilon, etc. Just now, because this is power of c, and this is c, this is c, and their orientations are inverse. So as far as we are inside c, is cannot happen. Because we have here and here precisely in the symmetric positions, here or moving twice, we have a y negative epsilon. This will be the same sign, while we should have the opposite sign. Because this is in C this way, and this is in C with the same things. So, if we happen with these steps to go inside C, then we're done, because it's impossible. Now, then, but it actually divided between C and D. Now, we already assumed that C is much larger than D. Therefore, we cannot overstep C. If situation will opposite, that D is big and C is short, then maybe the set of C will be somewhere in between. And this argument would not help us. Because it helps us only when we're inside the letter C, because we know that this C and this C is in opposite situations. But because we have assumed that C might be much bigger than D, then when we take this step 2 to the power lambda plus 1 on this side, 2 to the power lambda plus 1 on the other side, as for the cartoon, we necessarily go inside C and then we have the wrong side of the state. This is possible. Okay? This was because we assumed that our situation is B was bigger than 0. Therefore, this period was less than the length of this. So we have a situation that is precisely a power of 2. So we assume that from this point, from the middle of the middle, we have a power of 2. Now, then we continue reasoning it largely in the same line that we have done the previous time. So, we don't know what is its position. If its position is still some lambda, where the lambda is divisible here, but something that says that lambda is less than alpha minus 1, then the same argument applies. Because the step 2 to the power lambda plus 1 will be just half of this. So assume that lambda is precisely 2 to the alpha minus 1 in the middle of it. In the middle of the period, this will be in the middle. Therefore, if we move here in the middle, so we take then, okay. So here we have this one in the position divisible alpha minus 1. Then the next y will be divisible precisely by the same, because the difference between these 2 to the power alpha. Then it means that when we take the middle here between them, and then we move here by 2 to the power alpha and here to the power alpha, then this must have the same sign. So yes, because if this is y to the power epsilon, this is y to the power negative epsilon, y to the power negative epsilon. And then, because this is C, here it is both of the same direction, so it's impossible. What I have done now, considering the middle y between the half between. So we have D here, we have D here, we take the middle y in this situation. And then we go to 1 to power 2 to the power lambda alpha on the one side, 2 to the power alpha on the other side, and then should have this should have the same sign opposite to this one, and then they are in the C's that are the same direction, is impossible. Which if you look, this, no, excuse me, no, this is impossible. This is possible because here we change the direction, change the sign. No, this is possible. So here I don't see in this way. This doesn't give me in the middle of C, doesn't give me to that. Doesn't give me a contradiction. Excuse me, I have to return to this. Now, if, excuse me, so let me first consider that. Sorry. But if I'm starting, in the middle of this, So this is our middle y in the D. And then we are moving by 2 to the power alpha, twice will bring us here. And then will bring us here, the middle letter. So then we have y minus 1, y minus 1 in the middle letter. So it means that the sign, therefore the sign of D should be alternate in this situation, right? Because the sign of the middle y will signify the sign of D. So is it impossible if the numbers, no, it is impossible for the following reason, because the signs of D have the same regularity. Just it means that if we take D, 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 so it means that one of them must be in his position in the simple word must be odd. If one position is even, the other is odd. If it is odd, then this, if this will be 1, this will be -1. This will be -1, then this will be 1, because then it will have every second D will have a alternating signs. Now, and we assume it now that when we move to the next one, it will have, because here it is, if lambda is 2 lambda alpha minus 1, so this move will be 2 to the power alpha. And then what happens here? Then this should alternate in this way. -1, this will be 1, the next will be -1, and we get a contradiction. Because here, if this D itself in a odd position in the vortex, then every second will be alternative signs, the middle letter. And when we use the calculation for the xy world, we assume then, starting the situation was lambda was alpha minus 1, so going by alpha 1, getting in the next middle letter will be opposite position, so say, twice we have the same sign. And this contradicts our positionability. So it means that it is impossible that this will be divisible precisely by 2 to the power alpha minus 1. So the next situation to consider that it will be divisible by 2 to the power alpha. This is just this length now. Then what can be? Actually, we know that if this y would be just one, if this d would be just one letter, y, then this position will be possible. If these are precisely the multiples of 2 to the power alpha, then this word would be just a corresponding section of this word. In this case, because 2 to the power alpha, it means that we go down n minus alpha times dividing by 2, and then this will be exactly this position, y to the power sum k to the power alpha, y to the power k plus 1 to alpha, etc. So this word will be precisely the commutator of x, y, and minus alpha times. And then if we take c equals this and d equals y, we actually arrive at a derivative of the angle commutator. So this situation seems, in this case, we just would not take this word in the first place, because it is a consequence of the angle commutator with xy. Okay? So because if we assume that d is less than 1, this is y, then a should be of this time, of this form, because it's a 2 to the power alpha, 2 to the power alpha x's inside it equals the number of y's, and then this will be precisely this place of it. This is the part corresponding to the commutator n minus alpha times of y, because this section of it, because as we have seen, when they have the form, if they have, this was T2, it was a quarter, then we have T3, it was 1/8, etc., etc. So this will be exactly the section corresponding to the power n minus alpha. So this is just the part of this commutator. So in this case, we just do not take this word because it is just derivative. It is the normal course of this. Now, then we have this situation when actually we have 2 to the power alpha, the length of it together. Now, and then if we have this number of y just divisible by 2 to the power alpha, this is the middle of y. Now, then, what we would have, it should correspond, this is on one side, this is the word C and D. On the other side, it is the word of x and y. And then this should be the full word of this type. And this prevents us from the situation that, because the next letter here is different from the next letter here. This word is symmetric up to the last letter, and therefore it is impossible that the length of D will be bigger than 1. Because here is but D is defined, this last letter is not equal to this first letter. Because here we have situation that C and C symmetric. So this place where D is defined by the break of the symmetry. And if we have precisely 2 to the power alpha from this to this, then this section will have the break of symmetry only on the last letter, on the power of the y. Therefore, it follows that in this case, the length of D will be only 1 letter. Because we consider, so these are y to the power, some a to the power alpha, 2 y plus 1 to the power alpha, I mean the consecutive number. So then, between them, everything is symmetric to the last letter. This, by the structure of this section. Therefore, this break of symmetry happens in the last place where it could be, so it means it leaves for D only 1 letter. Because since, let me say, since T to the power n minus alpha is symmetric, I mean, we have on this side and on this side, except for the middle, the same word. And here, the last thing is on the power of y. that may break the symmetry. And then what we have for D is this situation. This is our C. We have next is some C. It could happen because here is a situation this word is cyclically reduced, so this letter could not be equal to the inverse of it. Of course, it is when it is of length 1, but it cannot be of some bigger length, because then we would have something here. This is not the inverse of here. This contradicts the symmetry of the word. The final outcome is that D is of length 1. So we are left precisely the situation we consider in this situation. Indeed, this could happen, but then we know that this angular relator is actually a consequence of this one. And then we will never take such relators. So this lecture now we actually have considered all the possibilities. So what is the conclusion of all this? That the only situation that we may consider that we have some A, B cyclic volumes in the relation, we have C, D. So this may not the OP may not contain maybe 16 appearances, because we needed to double this in the beginning to be twice long as B, so not more than 16 appearances. Actually, less than 16 appearances of C's in the common part of it. So this is the final conclusion with this interaction between different angular letters. So I will stop at this point, and then we will continue in the already to the general case. So